Hey there! Today we're going to talk about creative visualization and how it's similar to but not the same as law of attraction. So stick with me. Hi there, Dr. Carmen McGuinness here with you. Today we're going to talk about the law of attraction versus some of the other similar things that have been done over the years where it came from, basically. Because law of attraction is a fairly new idea, early 1900s. And we're going to focus on one in particular, creative visualization, which was first developed by Shakti, Gawain. This is my copy of the book. This copy was printed in 1978. And if you look online for it now, it says that the most recent, the first printing was 2004, but that simply is not true. This is it. It has a very similar cover to what you'll see online, and you'll see it's very old and well read. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start out with a little bit of history as to how these ideas came into being and where they came from, basically. And then we're going to focus on 5 things that I think are a problem with law of attraction as we know it today, and why maybe picking up a copy of this book might be a better plan if you're into this sort of stuff. And no, I don't know Shakti. I don't actually know much about her. I know that she's a her. So I'm not flogging this book for a friend. There's no ownership or anything like that. It's just what has worked for me for many, 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 many decades. So here we go. So my first introduction to anything like law of attraction actually came through the Rosicrucian order, and this was first called such in the 17th century in France. The order preserved the ancient mystic schools of Egypt, and that's what it taught to its followers. And then also there was the Theosophical Society arising in the late 1800s, and they did something similar with the ancient teachings of India. More recently, there's also the Germain Society, which was founded in the 1930s. It's another group forwarding the idea that there are ascended masters who teach us in dream state to manifest our thoughts into the physical world. And Saint Germain, if you recognize that name, you might know that he was believed to be an alchemist. It was believed that he could turn common objects into gold. So I believe that I was very fortunate to have a great Aunt Bertha, by name, who spoke to me of these teachings. And she was a great aunt, she was a great aunt, but she was also my great aunt. She was my mother's mother, so she was of grandmotherly age to me when I was a very young child. And when Aunt Bertha died, her books were left to my mother, who later passed them on to me because of my close relationship with Aunt Bertha as a young girl. So I read many of these books then. I won't say what year that was. It was many decades ago. And in 1981, I happened upon this book in a bookstore in a mall where I was working at the time. And as I mentioned, you can still get the book today. So Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain was first published in 1978, but the 2004 version of it is now available. I read the book then, and I believe that I've practiced the principles of visualization most of my adult life. It felt very natural to me, possibly because of my early relationship with Aunt Bertha, who I mentioned. And then a few years ago, perhaps a decade ago, at my age, a decade is a few years ago, I began to hear about law of attraction. And I thought, what's this? And, it would come up every now and then in conversation. Those are the sorts of people that I hang out with. So recently, I had a friend say to me, I don't understand. I've been doing this and just absolutely nothing is coming through for me. Everything that I desire it seems like it's on the other side of a wall for me. I can't attain it. So I started pondering that and reading up on it a little bit and reading through some of these ancient texts that I talked to you about and this book that is my fave. And I think there are 5 problems that stop people from being able, regardless of which of these approaches they're using, stop people from manifesting what they want into their world. And I think that today is a good time to talk about this. Obviously, you're going to see it whenever you see it, and whenever you see it is the right time for you to see it. But in my current world, in my universe, there will be a new moon tonight. The new moon in Scorpio will happen tonight on the 27th of October here in my little YouTube studio in Central Florida. Very late this evening at about, I think it's about 11:53 or so, there will be a new moon. And new moons historically are a time when we manifest into our life new projects, new ideas. We launch things, launch businesses, launch ships. Throughout the ages, the new moon has been thought of in this way, and the full moon is thought to be when things come to culmination, come to an end. So around the globe this evening, wherever you are on the globe, there will be people thinking about those things that they want to bring into their lives. So I think it's a good time to talk about the 5 problems that I believe there are with the way that people try to manifest things into their life using law of attraction, creative visualization, whatever you're using. So the first problem, we'll just go through all 5 in order. The first problem, in my opinion, is that most people know what they don't want, but they don't necessarily know what they do want. So they focus on pushing away that thing that they don't want. So, for instance, I have a very good friend who is letting go of a relationship right now. So manifesting the absence of a relationship, you see where I'm going. It's not necessarily going to work that way. We tend to focus on what we are trying not to focus on. The point is that focus is focus. So in comes that thing that we're trying not to be involved with. So I'm going to give you an example that I learned from one of my mentors, Stephen Hayes, acceptance and commitment therapy innovator and trainer, trained me. So Steve talks about not thinking about a lemon. And every time I say it, it happens. Of course, your mouth goes all lemony, and your glands are acting just like there's a slice of lemon in your mouth, because we just can't do that negative thinking thing, that avoidance thing. And Steve talks about it not in regard to law of attraction, but in regard to avoidance coping, which is not a good thing. And I'll put a link to that, to avoidance coping, my video on avoidance coping. I'll put a link up here. So for many of us, the first problem really is to figure out what it is that we do want, rather than focusing on what we don't want. So for some of us, this requires that we get to know ourselves a bit better. And I'm not going to go into detail on that, because I already have. There's another video. I believe it's called Gaining a Strong Sense of Identity. There might be a 2-part, actually. I think I did 2 parts of that. I will put a link up to the first part here, and then, of course, that will link to the second part. So that's the first problem, I think, is that we tend to focus on what we don't want rather than what we do want. And even if, as we conceptualize what we do want, it's somehow a shadow version of what we don't want, only fixed. if you understand my meaning. It's better. It's another job in whatever, only it's better paying, and the boss is more interested in my work, and, those sorts of things. It's a guy that looks like the old guy, or a girl that looks like the old girl, only better, nicer, kinder, more evolved, shall we say. So there you go. There's the first problem, in my opinion. So, but be careful, because this takes us to the second problem, in my opinion. Just because you know what you want, if you do, doesn't mean that you can dictate its precise form, timing, and location. Those who are fortunate enough to know what they do want and actually get what they want understand that it's not like a web page order. You can't just pick the color or even the size, and you can't choose the delivery date. Life will unfold. So, the third problem, in my opinion. You've probably heard a version of this before, because I've heard things like this about law of attraction. It goes something like this: step into your future, or live like it's already happening. Those are the two things that I've heard said about it. And I agree with all of that, but my version of how I conceptualize it is a little bit different to that. My version is, and you can write this down if you want to, stop watching the movie of your life and start being the actor in the movie instead. I have that on a big Post-it, a heart-shaped Post-it, on my mirror where I go in the morning to brush my teeth and put on my makeup and things like that. So, I'll say it again. Stop watching the movie of your life and start being the actor in the movie instead. Be the star of your own movie. So think of it, for instance, as daydreaming about being a rock star versus actually getting guitar lessons or voice lessons or whatever you're into. Hopefully not drumming if your parents don't like loud noises. I did drumming as a kid, and I loved it. My parents loved it, too. So, fourth problem, in my opinion, you can't imagine for others. And you see, my face just fell as I said it, because the thought of it is just, to me, it's repulsive. It's not okay. It's against the laws of nature to try to focus your own desire onto another specific person. And this one is really tough when unrequited love is involved. It's hard to imagine anything else when your heart is broken. And I did a video on this too. This also might be a series of videos I did. I think there were 2 or 3. And this one is called The 6-Spoke Wheel of Recovery. I'm going to put a link up, whichever side the links appear. But it's not just wrong to force your way onto somebody. It's deeply wrong. It's to me, it almost feels like psychic rape. So let's just say you're in love with, I'm a girl and I like guys. So let's just say I'm in love with this guy, and he's broken it off, or the relationship isn't going anywhere, and I'm just manifesting, something, a long-term relationship or something, It's not okay, and it can actually really push that person away if they are a sensitive individual and sense that that's what's happening. And of course, the other thing is that it doesn't work. If it did, there wouldn't be any such thing as unrequited love. All the energy that you spend waiting for him or her and wanting him or her will be wasted when another him or her that might be the love of your life just passes by. So that's 4. So the 5th problem, in my opinion, is if you have underlying core beliefs about scarcity and deserving, they're going to need to be dealt with before you'll successfully manifest anything of value to you into your life. I did a video on this called Deserving, and I will put a link here for that. So here's, in capsulization here, what I recommend. is that you use keywords. Keywords such as abundance. Yes, see yourself working in your dream job, but don't give it a name, a place, or a time. And I think those are the three things that we have to just leave fluid when we visualize. The name is dream job. The place is perfect place, and the time is now. And this is key. Why now? Why not perfect timing or something like that? Well, they're actually one and the same. Perfect timing is going to be now when it happens. When you get that dream job at that perfect time, it will be now for you then. There's only now. Everything else was either now then or will be now then. So let's talk about love in this instead of just the dream job. Let's go deep here. The name is Perfect for Me. That's his name, my dream guy. Perfect for me. The place is whenever I meet him, and the time is, you guessed it, now, because it will be now then. So serenity is another one that I focus into my life because it's really important to me. And I work very hard at living in a state of serenity. So for me, I am serene, not because I have my dream job and the Mr. Perfect for me, but because I am serene. So I hope this has been helpful. I know it's a lot to take in, a lot to make part of what you carry around the universe. But I really highly recommend this little book. Again, I get nothing if you buy this book. It's not written by me. I don't even own a bookstore. I don't even have any used copies to sell you. This is my only copy, and I'm hanging on to it. So I hope this has been helpful. I will see you this coming Wednesday for my midweek sneak peek as to what we'll be talking about next Sunday right here on my channel. Have a wonderful week. And great news, my book, Raising Your Inner Child, is now available as an online course, an online interactive course with 16 modules and over 50 activities to help you reach the highest version of yourself. Check it out. I'll put a link in the description box.